Welcome to Podcasts. A hotel night manager photocopies some documents, and suddenly he's living in a billionaire arms dealer's villa, sleeping with the enemy's girlfriend, and playing the most dangerous game of his life. Today, we're doing a complete walkthrough of The Night Manager Season 1, breaking down all 6 episodes, the key character moves, and why this BBC thriller became such a masterclass in espionage storytelling. By the end, you'll understand exactly how Jonathan Pine went from hotel employee to undercover operative and what made this adaptation so compelling. So let's dive right into this world of luxury and lies. What exactly is The Night Manager, and why should we care about it?
The Night Manager is this brilliant 6-part BBC thriller that aired in 2016 based on John le Carré's 1993 novel. It's directed by Suzanne Bier and stars Tom Hiddleston as Jonathan Pine and Hugh Laurie as Richard Roper. What makes it special is how it takes le Carré's classic spy fiction and gives it this contemporary, almost cinematic treatment. We're talking exotic locations, A-list performances, and this really sophisticated take on the espionage genre. And the cast is incredible. You've got Hugh Laurie playing against type as this charming but ruthless arms dealer, plus Olivia Colman, Tom Hollander, Elizabeth Debicki. It's like a who's who of British talent. Exactly. And here's what's fascinating. According to the page content, it was initially conceived as a miniseries, but it was so successful that the BBC and Prime Video commissioned 2 more installments in early 2024.
Wait, so there's more coming? That's huge news. But let's start at the beginning. Episode 1. Set the scene for us.
So we open in Cairo in 2011, right at the height of the Arab Spring. Jonathan Pine is working as the night manager of this luxurious hotel, and he's this former army soldier who keeps to himself. Then he meets Sophie Alican, this elegant, well-connected guest who's in serious trouble. She's discovered that her lover, a local criminal named Freddie Hamid, works with Richard Roper, who she describes as the worst man in the world.
And this is where everything starts, right? Sophie gives Pine some stolen documents?
Exactly. She entrusts Pine with stolen information linking Hamid and Roper to an upcoming weapons deal. Pine is torn between wanting to protect Sophie and honouring her wishes, but he chooses to send the documents to the UK's Foreign Office.
That's such a crucial decision. And I'm guessing it doesn't end well for Sophie?
Tragically, no. The moment Roper and Hamid learn about the leaked files, Hamid retaliates by brutally murdering Sophie. It leaves Pine grief-stricken and terrified, but it also sets up everything that follows.
So that's the horrifying murder that the page content mentions. It literally drives the entire series. Pine becomes motivated by revenge and guilt.
Right. And this is where Angela Burr comes in, Olivia Colman's character. She's the lead agent at the Foreign Office's International Enforcement Agency, and she's already been pursuing Roper's trail.
So, episode 2 is where the recruitment happens. How does Pine go from hotel manager to undercover operative?
Well, there's a time jump first. We flash forward 4 years to Switzerland, where Pine has relocated to this remote hotel. According to the episode guide, Burr continues her recruitment of Pine, sending him to Devon to build his cover story. But the episode also shows us Roper's life of luxury on the Mediterranean island of Majorca getting shattered. The structure is really clever. It's jumping between timelines to show us both sides of this cat-and-mouse game.
I love how the show uses these exotic locations. It's not just spy thriller stuff. It's almost like a luxury travel show with deadly consequences.
That's such a good point. The page content mentions how the series immerses viewers in this world of secrets, power, and betrayal across exotic locations from Switzerland to Morocco. It's this tense game of manipulation framed by beautiful settings.
So by episode 3, Pine is actually inside Roper's world?
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting. Pine is recuperating in Roper's villa, presumably from some staged incident that got him close to Roper, and he starts digging up secrets about the other household members. Meanwhile, Burr and her partner Stedman are seizing opportunities to recruit new assets. It's this parallel operation happening on multiple fronts.
And there's Major Corcoran, right? Tom Hollander's character, who's suspicious of Pine?
Exactly. The IMDb ratings show episode 3 scored 7.8 out of 10, and the description mentions Pine having to contend with a suspicious Corcoran. He's Roper's chief of staff, and he's not buying Pine's cover story.
That tension must be incredible to watch. Pine's walking this tightrope where one wrong move exposes everything.
And episode 4 is where that really pays off. According to the episode guide, Roper welcomes Pine into his inner circle, leaving Corky out in the cold. Pine is actually taking advantage of Corcoran's instability.
So Pine becomes Roper's frontman? That's a huge development.
Right, and the IMDb description says Pine agrees to act as frontman for Roper. But here's the thing. While Burr's operation receives an unexpected boost, forces from above are determined to stop it. There's also this concern about information being leaked to something called the River House. The page content suggests there are people in the British intelligence community who might be protecting Roper.
Oh, wow. So it's not just Pine versus Roper. There's this whole institutional conspiracy happening?
Exactly. And episode 5 really ramps up the pressure. The IMDb rating jumps to 8.3 out of 10, and the description says Pine puts on an impressive display to persuade Roper of his loyalty, while Burr finds her operation under threat.
That's one of the highest rated episodes. What makes it so compelling?
According to the episode guide, a suspicious Roper gathers his entourage around him to root out the traitor, forcing Pine to play a dangerous game. Meanwhile, in London, Burr and Stedman face mounting opposition from Whitehall. So you've got this dual pressure. Pine is literally fighting for his life while trying to maintain his cover, and Burr is fighting institutional forces trying to shut down her operation.
The stakes are just escalating constantly. And then episode 6 is the finale, also rated 8.3 on IMDb. How does it all come together?
The finale brings everything full circle. Roper and his team return to Cairo for the deal, reuniting Pine with an old enemy. The page content says Pine risks it all to put his plan in motion, while a discredited Burr makes one last stand.
Cairo, that's where it all started with Sophie's murder. There's something poetic about that.
Absolutely. And according to the Season 2 episode guide, we learn that Pine successfully tricks Roper and sends him into the hands of Syrian captors. The first installment concludes with Jonathan successfully exposing Richard and getting his revenge.
So Pine actually wins? That's satisfying. But what makes this show more than just a typical spy thriller?
I think it's the moral complexity. The Ace Showbiz synopsis puts it perfectly. In Pine's quest to do the right thing, he must first become a criminal himself. He has to withstand the allure of Jed, Roper's beautiful girlfriend, and navigate all these ethical grey areas.
That's such a key point. Pine isn't just playing a role, he's actually becoming part of this world of luxury and corruption.
And the page content describes how characters navigate this web of deception and moral ambiguity, testing loyalty and courage at every turn. Elegance masks peril, and danger lurks in even the most refined settings.
It's like the show is asking, how far would you go to stop someone truly evil? And what does that cost you personally?
Exactly. And the performances really sell that internal conflict. Tom Hiddleston brings this compassion and care to Pine, but you see him getting seduced by the power and luxury even as he's trying to bring Roper down.
And Hugh Laurie as Roper, that must have been such a departure from House. How does he pull off this charming villain?
The page content describes him as menacingly charismatic, and that's perfect. Roper isn't just evil, he's sophisticated, cultured, someone you could actually see yourself liking if you didn't know what he was doing.
That makes him so much more dangerous than a typical villain. He's not twirling his mustache, he's hosting dinner parties.
And that's what makes the show feel so contemporary. According to the page content, it's described as a half-throwback, half-modernized take on the espionage genre. It has classic Le Carré themes, but feels completely current.
Speaking of Le Carré, what's interesting is that he initially didn't want to continue the story after season 1, but then he changed his mind?
Yeah, according to the show's lead producer, Stephen Garrett, Le Carré changed his mind shortly before he died 5 years ago. He was happy for them to do season 2, and he even sanctioned a 3rd season.
That's incredible. So we're getting original material now, not based on existing novels?
Exactly. The page content mentions that both follow-ups will consist of original material, plunging Hiddleston, Coleman, and other familiar faces into another lion's den. Season 2 premiered in January 2026.
And from what I can see in the episode guide, Pine is now working as a low-level MI6 officer under the name Alex Goodwin, but his past catches up with him?
Right. 9 years have passed since he tricked Roper, who's now dead. But Pine sees an old Roper mercenary in London, and his secure life begins to unravel. It's like he can never fully escape that world.
That's such a compelling setup. But let's step back. What made season 1 such a cultural phenomenon? Why did it resonate so strongly?
I think it hit this perfect sweet spot. The page content describes it as sophisticated, gripping, and impossible to forget. a masterclass in suspense. It had the prestige of Le Carré, the production values of a big BBC drama, and these incredible performances.
And it came at this interesting time when people were hungry for smart adult television. This wasn't dumbed down, it trusted the audience to follow complex plotting.
Absolutely. And the show secured a slew of accolades from audiences, critics, and award bodies. It proved that you could do sophisticated espionage television that was both critically acclaimed and popular.
Plus, it showed how to adapt classic literature for modern audiences without losing what made the original special.
Exactly. David Farr's adaptation and Suzanne Bier's direction found this perfect balance between honoring Le Carré's vision and making it feel completely contemporary.
So, when you step back from all 6 episodes, what's the lasting impact of The Night Manager Season 1?
I think it redefined what spy television could be. It showed that you could have this cinematic scopes, these complex moral questions, and still tell a story that's fundamentally about one person trying to do the right thing in an impossible situation.
And it proved that audiences were ready for more sophisticated storytelling. The page content mentions how every scene felt electric, with stakes that were invisible yet palpable.
Right. It's this world that's both alluring and treacherous, where hidden agendas lurk behind every smile. That's such a perfect description of what makes the show work. You're constantly on edge, even in the most beautiful settings.
And now, with Season 2 finally here after 10 years, it feels like the perfect time to revisit that first season and remember why it was so special.
Absolutely. Whether you're watching for the first time or the 5th, The Night Manager Season 1 remains this masterclass in how to build tension, develop characters, and tell a story that's both intimate and epic.
Well, that brings us to the end of our complete walkthrough. Remember, sometimes the most dangerous game isn't the one being played in boardrooms or back alleys, it's the one being played in your own heart, when you have to decide how far you'll go to stop something truly evil.